And if that is damaged in your RNA, or your RNA and DNA of the follicle cannot handle the GABA anymore, then you will be permanently correct. And heavy metals do that to the follicle. So they can damage it permanently, but I don't seem to have any permanent damage. I thought this is going to be permanent here, but it comes and goes. It's a huge gray spot. But it comes and goes, it comes and goes. But it stayed one time for almost 2 years. Then all of a sudden, one winter it went away. It comes back a little ounce and goes away. It gets better every year, it gets less gray. As I get older, I get healthy.
So these people who are old, who appear to be healthy, are not healthy if they're grey?
Well, it doesn't mean they're not healthy. It means that they're just throwing off heavy metals.
Keeping on.
Yeah, into their hair, being built into the hair.
Okay.
And if that heavy metal does damage to the cells in the follicle, then they may not be able to recover that damage.
So I reckon it's genetic then. There's people that turn grey at 20.
Well, I was gray at 21 because of all the chemo and radiation. So my hair, when it came back in, it was all gray. And then it took about a year and a half to restore the color. I was eating lots of dairy, raw dairy at that time. And that's right before I went into raw food, veganism. Got off of dairy. Big mistake, but it's exploration. Many years. Okay, you want to start with Q&A?
Sure. We'll do that.
Well, what are you doing exciting, differently? It's always nice to hear, Aajonus, that you're doing something different. You're going to be doing something in Thailand, or you've got something exciting happening.
Well, I was in Aruba a month ago. When I go to Florida, I go from Florida to Aruba because it's close. And I've got a lot of patients on Aruba. And one of them said, Thailand's too far to go for a health center. And I said, well, nobody's offering to buy me in Costa Rica. And he said, how about Costa Rica? I said, I checked Costa Rica, it's too expensive. The only real estate agency down there is Century 21 from America. And they jacked the prices up so bad. It's terrible. I won't live on the Atlantic Coast.
Why?
Because that's the Gulf. And there's 2 U.S. nuclear bases that dump their nuclear waste there in the Gulf. Plus you have the Panama Canal, which is very close. And it's all that oil from the tankers. And some of those tankers are backed up for 3 weeks to a month, and they're just sitting out there, spilling all kinds of garbage into it. So I don't eat anything from the Gulf. I won't live there. So it's very expensive. So he said, well, how about I build it for you? I said, hey, be my guest. So he made a call right there to a friend of his in Costa Rica and said, I need the 100 acres. Get it as soon as you can.
Costa Rica Atlantic coast.
Pardon?
Is it Costa Rica Atlantic?
You've got it on the Atlantic end, part of the Central America. So you've got a West Pacific and you've got an Atlantic side.
Oh, that's right.
Big, long mountain between.
So this might be happening soon.
Would you be happy with that?
So I would have both. Yeah, I'd love to have both. Yeah. Thailand and Costa Rica. You kidding? That'd be perfect. Because then all the people that are close to Asia, the Australians and the Europeans would go to, Thailand, and then all the Americans and South Americans, or all the Americans, whether it's north or south, could go to Costa Rica. Costa Rica is central. And Thailand is central, between China and Australia. And I've got a lot of Australia. In fact, they want me to come in July to Australia, so in Asia, and to go to Australia and give a workshop.
Which part? Australia.
It's
Gold Coast,
Or
Brisbane.
it's Gold Coast. Braille?
Brisbane.
Brisbane.
Good, that's where I'm going new here. So that's why I put several people onto you when I was there in Gold Coast, which is an hour south of Brisbane. That's where I'll be going to now.
The rainforest there.
Well, it's a wee bit of rainforest there, not as much as up north, but it's good, it's lovely. And that's where I got the butter and the cultured cream and the butter. And the milk that you only could buy, it's got Cleopatra's milk for the bar.
That's okay, you don't care.
Doesn't matter what it's for, as long as you can buy it. Interesting, well that's great.
Richard, what are you going to do in town?
Help build a health center in both Thailand and Costa Rica.
How's the progress on that?
Well, the partners are doing very well with their other company. They have the stem cell company, where they take the stem cells from a person's blood. They have a laboratory in Israel. So they take the blood and send it to Israel to the laboratory. They separate the stem cells from the blood, so it's your own stem cells. They breed it in your own blood serum, when they separate it, so it's all natural. And then they inject, and they put it with a courier to take it to Bangkok. It goes to the hospital, and then they inject it in the heart. And they got a 3-year license from the country of Thailand to do experiments on humans, because they had been done only on animals. And in all animals, there was not one case of rejection. There was not one case of any side effects. So they were, after 2 years of doing the tests, the same was for the humans, not one reject, because it's your own stem cells, bred in your own blood serum. So, and it completely reversed 80% of the heart disease. Was mitral valve prolapse or bypass. The body actually builds new arteries to bypass its own arteries in 3 to 6 months. So it was so extraordinary, and the test went so well, that 8 Nobel Prize winners joined the board of that company, plus the king's own cardiologist. So they gave them a license to go ahead and become commercial as of January, so it was a year early. But because of that, that put me on hold, my health center on hold, the money for the health center, because now that they have the license already and they know they're going to do it, they need $13 million to build the laboratory in Bangkok, because they can't keep trucking it back and forth from Israel to Bangkok by messenger. Too many things could happen, because you have 24 hours to get it into the person once it leaves the lab. So it's risking it too much. And it's only $36,000 right now. And open heart surgery is anywhere from $125,000 to $300,000. And people are going from the wheelchair to the tennis court in 3 to 6 months. So it's pretty amazing. And Don Ho had open hearts. Does anybody know who Don Ho is? Tiny bubbles, make you happy. He was famous in the 60s for that song. And, he's 72 years old and lives in Hawaii. He had open heart surgery last year, and it didn't work. Plus, he got a pacemaker. Wasn't working. So he went to Bangkok and had this done. And 7 weeks later, he was doing full sets, back to work. So that put them on the map. So now they're making money with it already. And everybody told them, no, you're going to need $32 million to $50 million for this kind of a starter company, and it would take you 5 years before you would get any money. And they did it with $3 million for 2 years. Smart people. And they're on the diet.
So this Don Ho, how do you spell the Ho? H-O-E or
H-O.
H-O?
Don Ho. H-O.
He's a singer.
Yep.
So people know him. That sounds great.
Famous Hawaiian singer.
Hawaii.
I was listening to public radio, and it looks like Salk Institute and a bunch of others have a consortium of other companies, and they're going to start this big stem cell research thing here in San Diego, and they're all excited about it. Yeah, sounds like your friends are ahead of the curve.
Way ahead.
And they're doing it different stem still too, aren't they? They're not doing blood stem still, are they?
I'm not sure.
Well, the problem with the fetus stem cells is they were rejected, something like 60% of the case. Just like having a transplant. Problem there. But when you have the stem cells from your own blood and you're breeding your own blood stem cells, there's no rejection, no side effects. They're very happy with that. Okay, you want to start?
Good to see that.
Did you have another question? Because I was asking another one other than
Well, if anybody wants to know about this, what the health centers are going to do is they're going to provide the primal diet, food completely available. We're going to grow it. We're going to have 100 acres on each one in Thailand, one in Costa Rica. So we'll be growing all our own food, herbs, everything, year-round. Because the areas where I'm picking them are tropical enough to grow all year round, all the food. So, pardon?
Including meat?
Oh yeah, we'll have cattle. We'll have dairy. We have everything. The farm that my grandparents had was only 50 acres growing in barns, and we had about 40 Jersey cows, which supplied all the milk from just about 10 miles west of Chicago all the way to Peoria. So they supplied all the milk for all the towns around all through the early 1900s, late 1800s, 1900s. And plus that was 40 acres of corn that we grew, to feed the horses, because they had Clydesdale horses to pull the wagons to deliver the milk. Until, of course, the automobile and truck came in. 20s trucks, classic old things, to start delivering it. But my grandfather, he liked to stick with the horses and the buggy. He did it all the way up to the 30s with the horse and buggy. Or he didn't get out there and do it himself. He helped do it. But it was all milked by hand. He never went to machine. All the way up until I think it was about 49 when he stopped producing dairy.
Were your early years with raw milk and stuff like that?
Mine?
Yes.
I was born in 47, so I started boiling it. My grandparents bought the bull. It was all boiled. She would boil it right there on the stove. I don't think she did it with all the cream. I think she cut some of the cream off, so we were getting cream with our, cereals, and berries. She had a great raspberry garden. So on this, at these primal centers, the diet will be 100% available every day, day and night. There will be lots of hydrotherapy, the outdoor, hot baths. The land that I have chosen, 60% of the land is bordered by a river, so we'll be able to use hydro and solar power. So it'll be so completely self-sustainable. The river has a great deal of red clay, So we'll do like you do in Vietnam, and at one of the spas there, we'll siphon the clay mud into these tubs where people can sit in warm clay and stay in there for, in Vietnam at that particular spa, they only let you stay in it 20 minutes, but I would like people to stay in it for an hour to an hour and a half, especially if there's lymphatic damage. And then there'll be swimming pools, and there'll be kitchens where people get to learn how to do, how to make primal food, how to prepare dishes, and lots of therapists, massage therapists, anything that I know that has worked.
Swimming pool with chlorine.
Pardon?
Chlorine and swimming pool.
No. It will be the electrical chlorinator. So you just put real salt water, sea salt, sun-dried sea salt in the water, and the electric chlorinator turns it into a non-toxic chlorine with no chloroform vapors. It's called an electrical chlorinator, made for pools. Yeah, electrical chlorinator. And they're relatively inexpensive.
Yeah, they do them in New Zealand everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere,
Yeah.
So I've got some friends in Nevada City who have it for their very natural-looking swimming pool. And I swim there every time. One time they put too much salt in, and it was like swimming in the ocean. I didn't like that, but that was only once they did that.
Is there any place here that you would...
I think they went to pour it in, and the sack broke or something. You got too much salt in there.
Is there any place that you would go here locally to, just to swim, besides the Congo? Any kind of spa or nothing?
It really isn't. Well, the closest thing, and it's not that far from here, is Deep Creek.
Deer Creek?
Deep Creek. That's in Hesperia, just on the other side of the San Bernardino Mountains. You go 15 through San Bernardino, and you get off at Hesperia, and then you ask for you might be able to find directions on the internet to Bolen Ranch, B-O-L-E-N Ranch, and it's about 25 miles from Hesperia east, and you go to the Bolen Ranch and you pay like $4, or $2 or $4 for your car, and then you drive in about probably half a mile, and you park your car, and you walk 2 miles in to the canyons, mountains, and you follow the trail down, and the river from all the melting rain and snow from the mountains flows down, and so you get a river. So you get to cross the river. When you get to cross the river's probably about from here to the sidewalk over there wide, and it never gets any higher than this. Well, it does when the rains first melt, in like May, you can get this high. And it's pretty cold, And you cross the river, you just make it across. Cold as hell. And you get to the other side, and there are all these natural hot springs that are coming out of the mountains. And all these natural pools, and there are about 5 of them. It's all hot springs. So you get to go, and there are all places to dive off of these rocks into the cold. So you go from the hot to the cold, and you get to swim around. Men wear some drawers or something to keep your penis protected, because there are catfish in there and they bite people. I got a bad bite once. And I mean, it bled. And because those catfish have, teeth. Teeth.
should have ate them.
Lori did. Lori took one.
Fight them back.
Right down.
How do you spell Hesperia? Is it H-A?
Hisperia, I think it is.
H-I-S-P.
Eria.
No, okay.
Yeah, that's
Swim
okay.
there.
They just
Can't
have,
swim.
you know,
Too cool to swim.
they don't treat the mud bath, and they don't treat that one area, small area, of the mineral hot springs, but everything else is chlorinated. But this is wild. If you want to spend the night there, it's illegal. Don't do it on a weekend, because the rangers come in on, horseback. They'll ticket you $80 and they'll tell you have to leave. But $80 is like a good hotel room. But I've never gotten busted, for erecting I-10 there during the week. But a lot of people get run off on the weekend. Too crowded on the weekends anyway. It's a state. It's San Bernardino State Park.
We have
And
lots of
it's
hot springs
absolutely
down in
beautiful.
Mexico.
Yeah, right, all along the coast.
Bay.
Yeah. And then this place has one. It's called the Arizona Tub, and it's right there. You broke the rocks off. The cold water and the hot water would be running together, same level. And they've got a very deep one where you have to climb a little bit, and it's probably about 8 feet deep. Really nice. And then one's up on top, really hot. It's very hot. So that's a very nice place. Deep Creek.
So would you drink the formula before you go in, just like for the bath?
Yeah, absolutely. Take it with you.
And then afterwards, you need to exercise just like
Well, you need to, if on that side you've got a trail that leads all the way down to the dam, which is about 12 miles. So you've got plenty of trail. They're fire roads. That's a fire road. It's a very easy walk. And that's pretty flat. Not like when you come in from Bowling Ranch. You don't want to walk 12 miles in. You just want to walk 2 miles. That is mostly downhill. On the way back, it's uphill. So better make sure you have enough food for as many days as you're going to get back there, because you're going to need your fuel to get back.
I have a question on phytoplankton bloom. What do you feel about it? And also, I was looking at because Barbara and I were getting some that, and I looked at the list, and it's just, it has all sorts. It has.
Glycerin.
Well, it has a lot. No, that has glycerin, but no, the different metals in it. It's amazing how many different metals that. It has lead. It has all these different things that I thought. What is taken better?
Well, you have to understand that plankton and algae, they're plants. They eat rock. So whatever's in the rock, they eat it and make it something good. And we can eat them and do fine, because they're a cross between the plankton's a cross between a fish and a plant. So they can handle that toxicity. The fear is because plankton eats so much mercury that the animals who eat them, like the swordfish, is a highly toxic animal. But it isn't. The swordfish can move so fast because it knows how to utilize the mercury favorably. It isn't like the mercury they use in injections. It's like, science says, well, we've made this radiation. The radiation that you get is just like the sun. No way it's anywhere near like the sun. It isn't produced the same way at all. And the arrogance to say that it's the same quality as the sun is ludicrous. should be ashamed of embarrassed. So,
So you feel
I haven't
good thing?
experimented with it yet, and I'm going to because of the favorable things that I've heard about it. And it's supposed to be non-toxic. The only thing that bothers me is that I haven't looked at it yet. Somebody emailed me and said there was glycerin in it.
That's in this stuff.
This is the one that
Barbara
comes
did.
from British Columbia.
Oh, okay.
It's
So
very-
it's a different one than the one.
Than the one that Jane.
Okay. All right.
What does glycerin do?
Well, glycerin is from cellulose. And to get glycerin from cellulose, it has to be highly processed. And even if it were raw glycerin, we don't have the nutrients to break it down properly. It takes an herbivore to digest cellulose.
I use it on my hands and feet, face sometimes. Do you think it's absorbed enough to be a problem?
I think it's causing a problem in your skin, killing the cells. It's a chemical. It's not they say it's from natural, but once they finish processing, it's not natural. It's like calling all of these eggs organic. And these eggs aren't organic because they're not, 75 to 80% of the feed, even though is soy, and even though it was raised organically, you can't feed raw soy to a chicken. It has to be heat processed and chemically treated. So once you do that, the soy that you're feeding the chicken is no longer organic, nor is it anywhere natural. So it's
Where do
all
you
a
get
lie.
eggs these
It's an
days?
absolute fraud.
Where do you get eggs in? Or don't you?
Yeah, I get Lily's eggs, and they raise them out on the land eating bugs and stuff like that. And she feeds them very little soy.
So what do you ask for when, like, being on the East Coast, when I'm looking for eggs? What do I look for?
Well, just trying to find chickens have been running out of pasture. Eggs from chickens
Pasture.
running out of
Yeah, they're
pasture.
called pasture, aren't they?
Pardon?
They're called pasture.
Pasture fed
Yes,
or pasture.
pasture.
Do you know for a fact that those eggs will not help people get well? Did you ever try? Is that how you found this out, or are you?
You mean the
Going
soy
by
ones, the
logic?
organic ones?
Mhm.
Oh yeah, the results were tremendous, decreased tremendously. In fact, they were getting sicker. Some of the cancer clients that were eating it progressed rapidly into more cancer. And the literature out there on the internet, if you want to look up soy, it's tremendous. The amount of laboratory animals who get cancer by eating, the isoflavin, because it's high in isoflavin. Isoflavins, especially when they're isolated and treated like that, because the human has to have it treated too and cleaned with chemicals, because it would kill us if we ate it raw. So the same way they treat it for chickens is the same way they treat it for us.
So even if you eat
So the
organic,
isoflavins are very isolated, and they're free radical basically. So they cause, in all animals that are fed, the cancer rate is increases 36%. That's an astounding amount. Yes.
Aajonus, the eggs that I buy, I talked to the farmer on how he feeds the chickens, and he said part of the feed that he does scraps around the farm, but a lot of the feed is what's left over after the breweries run water through grains to make beer.
Absolutely.
Is that bad?
It's not great.
It didn't sound so good to me.
No, it's not good at all, but, we get our eggs from Lily up in Santa Ynez area, and they run around 10 acres. She does feed them, some meat byproducts, although she's not supposed to, but she does for us. And she has an area of about 2 acres for the eggs we want.
So do you get the same eggs in the stores here? Is it the same thing from Lily?
No, she feeds them all. She doesn't feed any of those. They're the same, except she doesn't feed them any raw meat.
And
scraps.
Lorraine, is there release anymore?
No, they've had for a long while.
So we don't have a good source of eggs down here.
Well,
You can get them, James.
you need somebody to run up to Los Angeles, weekly and do that.
Once a month.
Yeah, but you do it once a week. The machinery that I bought to make coconut cream in Thailand arrives tomorrow at the lot. So I'm going to train the people how to use it because they trained me in Thailand how to use it. So, these machines are great. It's like the Green Star Gold that's about 4.5 feet long. It's stainless steel. It's about this high off the ground, so it does you can do 50 gallons an hour.
50 gallons an hour?
50 gallons an hour. See, they're so fast. They've got, I bought 3 machines, one to take the shell off the coconut. Those guys can do a de-shell a coconut in 3 seconds. 3 seconds. It takes me about 20 seconds because I've only just learned to use the machine. But 20 seconds is very quickly to get the whole shell off.
Wow.
So then there's a machine. Just take the broken pieces, we break up the coconut and put it in the machine that grates it, and then we put the grated coconut through the juicer.
Do you have a good source of coconuts? So often I buy them, like 2 out of 3 are bad.
Well, that's only because you're getting ones that are already out. When you get fresh bags in, it's usually you get 8 to 9 out of 10 good. It's just that when they're in the stores, the Mexicans and all the people who know how to choose coconuts and use coconuts a lot, they get the first pick and they know the good ones. So you get leftovers.
I heard they soak them in mold retardant before they're shipped. Is that true?
Some of them, yeah. If you see real white skin outside, yeah.
Does that matter?
But if they're, light brown, well, it doesn't really get to the hard coconut. No, they can be light brown to dark brown.
Timbos are quite light.
No, if they still have hair on them. If the hair's off, they'll always turn dark brown.
Have you seen the ones that Henry's are packaged?
Medium to dark brown.
They're packaged in plastic and they're very, very dark and they're scored around.
Yeah.
They're over ones, too.
They don't soak those in. Those aren't soaked
They could be good.
in mold
Those
retardant.
are fairly good.
If you don't think it matters too much, huh? You still use it?
No,
We stopped using it.
we've got a good source of coconuts. So,
What's a good? How can you know it's a good source?
because James Stewart, who runs our co-op, that's what he did for 30 years, was buy and sell produce, so he knows every contact there is. Organic produce. He's one of the first ones to start organic produce business way back in the early 70s.
And he knows by talking to the people who prepared it?
Yes, he knows. And also, I tell him what I know about being in the fields and what's going on out there. Between the two of us, we get the best stuff.
We'll be having coconut. He'll make it every week, but
Yeah, every week.
That's the idea.
We make it every week. No, probably glass.
Well, so you'll make it, we'll be able to get it from you.
Well, I'm not going to make it.
no.
I just bought the machinery. I'm going to train them how to use it.
James will make it, and then we get the delivery
James
here
bought
first.
the-
But I
James-
live in Northern California. Can you get things there too?
Oh, it won't ship. Too fragile. So you'll have to go back to making, just remake it.
Can you buy the jars full of the virgin coconut?
Doesn't it? It's the same.
You will.
If you take one of those jar lids that are metal and you put coconut cream on it, within about an hour it turns gray, starts ripping the metals up. You put that oil on it, it could take a week before it starts pulling up the metals. So coconut cream is the only thing that does it.
It pulls out more toxicity, is what you're saying.
More metal toxicity. Well, it pulls out anything. You can dissolve, lymphatic plaque. You can dissolve in almost anything.
Right.
Okay, so should we start? Okay. You have a question?
Go around that round, learning.
Okay. You have a question, Mike?
When I was in Burma, I drank a bunch of coconut milk after I got out of the
Coconut water?
coconut milk. They would take the coconut and they would put it through a grinder, and they would take all the meat and ground it, and that's what they give me. And they would do like 5 or 6 coconuts, and I'd end up with about a quart.
Coconut cream.
Coconut cream, right? And I had sugar cane juice from the street. Same thing. They just took a sugar cane through like a hand grinder, and I was eating raw eggs to offset the fact that I was eating so many fried foods during the meditation retreat I was at. And I lost about 20 pounds at this retreat because you couldn't eat past noon every day. But was that a good thing to do for my body?
Absolutely.
To get it clean.
Clean stuff, yes.
And then what happened was I experienced an extreme amount of diarrhea for like 2 weeks.
Absolutely, you will. That much coconut cream? My God. I'm lucky you didn't go every hour.
Yeah. But so that was a good cleansing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
May have demineralized you to some extent, so eating cheese when you return would have been the best thing to do. Lots of cheese.
Pardon? Yeah, I started doing butter and all that.
Not after doing that regime and being mineral deficient, you won't digest the fat. You need a cheese. If you're going to eat the lubrication form, you had to eat it with a lot of cheese.
So it's safe to do that. You can like drink a bunch of coconut cream.
Depends upon the individual. Like you say, it can demineralize the system if you detox it too fast.
But if you ate cheese with it to keep the minerals in balance, it would work. And then if you brought in the meat, that would.
Like if you made coconut cheesecake, coconut cream cheesecake, very nice.
Isn't the coconut cream kind of every temperate? Takes too much at one time.
Oh, it depends how hungry you are. I've been so hungry, I've down a pint of it. Of course, I had diarrhea for 2 days.
I take
Down
about
a pint of it.
a quart, 3 ounces, and that's all I want.
Yeah, that's about me too, most of the time. But when I'm in Asia and I can't get dairy, I'll consume at least a cup of it a day.
Is it a good substitute for dairy?
Not really. It's not building, it's cleansing. But it's a fat that I have to have. I eat so many more eggs in Asia. So sometimes I'll eat up to 40 a day.
Do the eggs compensate for the lack of fat from the coconut?
Lack of milk. Because I still get my meat. I still eat meat there.
Right.
I can get lots of meat. It's just that, I'm so used to having so much dairy fat. Cream and the butter, it's heaven. And it just stabilizes my body, it really grounds me. And then when I'm there, in Asia for, 7 weeks at a time, and by the 5th week, I start adding that coconut cream more often.
So the fact that the Asian cultures have less dairy in their lifestyle opposed to the European cultures, Western culture, do you think that had a lot to do with Western history developing with the dairy consumption of dairy product in the West?
Well,
comparatively to that of the East?
I think it developed mainly because the dairy was produced, except in Africa, the dairy was produced in very cold climates where there wasn't a lot of food in the winter. A lot of things went into hibernation. So dairy was always available. Cows didn't freeze. You could milk them twice a day.
Do you think that the dairy made the Western culture stronger in some ways than the Eastern culture?
Oh yeah, definitely. Absolutely. Much stronger. Physiologically, bones and everything.
Conquered the world.
Pardon?
That's how Genghis Khan conquered the largest portion of the world, because Mongolians were a meat, dairy society, no vegetables at all.
Mm-hmm. They also bled their horses so they wouldn't have to carry food.
Like the Maasai?
Yeah, like the Maasai, but the Maasai do it to, not to the horses, to the cow, to the bulls. They don't do it to the cows, they do it to the bulls. You bleed the bulls for blood.
Not enough to hurt them.
Pardon?
Not enough to hurt them.
They'll bleed a bull for 5 days, and then they'll go to another bull.
Blood bank.
Blood and milk, equal portions, delicious. Doesn't taste anything like that. If you've ever had blood, it's kind of, it coagulates pretty quickly, gets thick, and it tastes metallic a little bit. And, it's really fresh and liquid, and you're drinking it right out of the bleeding animal. It's easy and it's okay, but once it sits in a glass for 5 minutes, it becomes unappealing to me. So when you mix it right away with milk, it tastes like ice cream. It has no relationship to the taste that it has on its own. Blood has on its own. It's like ice cream. Rich, delicious. And the Maasai are the tallest, strongest, healthiest, smartest tribe in the world, and they're the only ones that, on a daily basis for 3 months a year, they only bleed those. They only drink the blood and the milk together during the times that the cows are lactating for the calves, and they don't have enough milk for themselves. So they have to supplement it with the blood. And their growing spurts on that 3 months every day, several times a day, eating the blood and the milk together is giving them this height that's, the average height there is 7 foot tall. Tallest person is 9 foot something. Smallest man is like 6'3". That's a short guy.
I heard they don't want to have anything to do with Western culture.
No, they don't. When after Shirley MacLaine and that whole group for like 28 years kept bringing donuts and candies and garbage, and the children started getting sick, and they saw, harming their entire tribe. They went to the government and said, we don't want the white man within 20 miles of our villages anymore. Don't want him influencing our children, our people, anything like that. We will agree to go out to hike 20 miles every day and do rituals and, sell our art to the white man. But we don't want him within 20 miles of our villages. And the government agreed. So that's the way it stands today. The only way you ever get to see a Maasai is if he's left the tribe and gone into culture, like the one Maasai who's a singer, who's quite a famous singer now. He's on David Letterman a couple of months ago. Extremely bright man. And you can see how well their brain works and how calm he is. But I had a feeling he left the tribe a little early and didn't eat entirely because he didn't have the height of the normal Maasai tribe. He was only about maybe 6'1", 6'2".
So the pygmies, what happened to them?
Well, the pygmies only ate cooked foods, heavily cooked foods, and they didn't eat any dairy, strictly meats and insects, always heavily cooked and fried. Everything fried. They'd take a slab of lard from a wild pig or whatever, and they would boil that first and then cook the meat in that.
So that's the reason why they're so short.
I think so. See, your fat molecule is very sensitive. When you start frying it, you really change its ability. You damage your ability to breed stem cells in the body. Without stem cells, you don't grow very well. If anything's deformed, it will remain deformed. Because stem cells are cells. Everybody knows what stem cells are?
No.
Stem cells are a fatty cell that can become any kind of a cell. It can become a brain neuron, or it can become a liver or pancreas or muscle tissue. It can become whatever it wants at the time it enters wherever it is. It enters the heart, it becomes a heart cell. The body needs arteries instead of a heart cell, it will build an arterial cell.
It gets there through the blood. It happens very rarely all the time.
With such a small amount once you're over 21 years old. Very small. That's why the company that my partners own, called Terra Vitae, THERA VITAE, 2 words. VITAE. It's the Latin term for vital life. So they, take the stem cells from the blood and culture only the stem cells, so that you get concentration of them when they inject them in the heart. I've talked with the physicians there, because they're in the office, met all of them, and even consultants, all the time. And they inject, 30 to 40 injections in the heart, during the procedure of injecting. And the report that I got about a month ago from the physicians who were responsible for the heart patients before they came to Terra Vitae, said that their observation of their patients who've had the stem cell injections, that is this one here, bigger one, that the effects after a year and a half were still working. It still showed progress in the unusual healing of the heart and surrounding areas. One doctor said that a person's pancreas that was beyond borderline diabetic, that it healed his pancreas into his heart. After a year, it started affecting the other glands.
Did they get to the liver or something else?
They don't do it right now. They're talking about doing more this year. They're going to be more other organs and other parts of the body. They're going to start that this year, I think in August or July. But right now it's strictly heart.
So you think it's quite a good thing?
It's a wonderful thing. Yeah.
Because it's going to see that healing. Not
And it's
just
the person's own cells and bred in their own blood. So what we're thinking about doing is getting the people to come to the Primal Diet Health Center first for a few weeks to a month before they have this done, so their blood is really good and rich and healthy.
Yeah.
And then breeding it in that blood serum should even increase it. And then those 20% that it doesn't work for, this will probably increase their ability to be able to utilize the stem cells.
You think stem cells can reproduce bone?
Oh yeah, use anything. Stem cell can become any cell.
I thought the blood just had the cells that carry oxygen. These are different cells, right?
Yeah. You can reproduce nerves.
They're fat cells. You have fat cells all throughout the blood. White blood cells.
A stem cell is a fat cell?
As a type of fat cell. It's a type of white blood cell. That they are differentiated in that they can become any cell.
That's not a white corpuscle. That's another one.
They're similar. White corpuscle is a white cell, white blood cell. It's mainly fat. Those are called the defenders because fat can absorb toxins without being damaged. It's like fat people. That's why I say fat is so important. Get fat if you want to get well quicker. So because the fat can arrest the poisons without going into the cell and damage the RNA and DNA and your vitality.
Does everybody have stem cells that can take from them?
Everybody.
What organ makes cells in the body?
We find the greatest concentration in the bone marrow. So just like we breed the red and white blood cells, cellular division of the red and white blood cells happens in the bone marrow, and so does the stem cells. Except in the fetus, they're all over the fetus. They seem to be breeding everywhere.
So this is going to be, this clinic and these places that you're going to start are going to be affordable for people who got normal income. So
It won't be possible. However, what we're doing is to get the license from Thailand and also to satisfy me, 10% of the patient basis will be completely free, and they will be the poor people of Thailand.
the other would be quite an expensive sort of thing to attend the clinic.
But I mean, there'll be, there will be some kind of work exchange for some people. I'm going to arrange for all types of ways to get people in there.
Yeah, that's one.
But your normal therapists and everything like that have to be Thai. It has to be so many. In order to do it in Thailand, a great percentage of the workforce has to be Thai.
Yeah.
The way the system is here in this country is so heartbreaking in our country. The young people and people that can't afford the different things to heal themselves.
Oh, yeah.
So they have to go through whatever the insurance will give them and afford them. And Western medicine type of thing.
Oh, it's terrible.
So it'd be heartbreaking to realize that there's something like that available, it's exciting, and it's only available for people that are...
In Aruba, now that I have my PhD, my clients there are arranging with the government. They've already set it up. When the health center gets open, they have their own health system there, and it's for everybody, and it's free, just like in Canada. So they will fly the people to the health center in Costa Rica and pay for it completely.
Their own people, of course.
Pardon?
Their own people.
Yeah, in Aruba.
Yeah. But people going from America or from another country are going to have to pay.
It's going to change. It's just like Campbell. Oh yeah, Campbell Insurance Company. They insure certain firms, workforces.
Right, somebody changed it.
Certain workforces, they paid my bill. Even when I wasn't a PhD, they paid, the cost of coming in the consult from his, from the work. Campbell, C-A-M-P-B-E-L. That insurance company pays alternative therapy because they know they work.
So you belong to them?
No, I don't. I have patients.
Oh, I see patients who did and they paid
Yeah.
to come to you. Okay.
Can we all sign that?
Pardon?
Can we all sign that way, that insurance company? Or is it
The
only
insurance
for
company is here in California.
CAMPBELS?
I don't know that you can get that insured by the company without it being with a firm, with some kind of company.
Get organized somehow or a group.
Yes, probably. Probably.
Take on that organizer.
Absolutely. Do you have a question?
Yeah, I thought we were here.
I'm bouncing back and forth
Oh, you
this
are?
time. I'm tired of just going around. So I thought I'd bounce.
Don't.
You mind if I get artistic?
As long as you don't get autistic.
Been there.
Yeah.
Been there.
Just, can you mention that guy's name, that dentist that you recommended that you said you were going to?
Tomas Breton.
And how long have you been going to him?
Almost 3 years.
Is it good?
It's very gentle too. Very
So
nice.
he knows what he doesn't use any amalgams, or does he?
Well, he'll use them if you want them.
Oh, he'll use them to teach you?
Yeah.
And,
He's third generation dentist. His mother and father are both dentists. So he's been around the field a long time. And when I first introduced him to this, he went online. He spent a month researching natural stuff.
for you?
Yeah.
Are you talking about the food, or are you talking about
His
his
dentistry.
dentistry?
Because he had only been trained
Work it
along
up.
the way.
Yeah.
So
But
you,
he'll do anything I say. If I don't want x-rays, if I don't want Novocaine.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, I had a tooth that over here that, it's missing. And the cap fell off of it, and I thought, I'd been on the diet for raw food for 24 years, and I was eating a lot of dairy and cheese, and I thought I'd be able to remineralize that tooth. When the cap came off, it just rotted. So when it kept breaking off and everything, and just, then there was just that stub in there, and I said, well, I want to get it pulled. I just want you to go ahead and pull it. And I said, what you need to do is you need to cut around the tooth. He says, I'm a dentist. So he says, I have this tool which goes in, and I slide it in and then turn it around, and it cuts all the flesh around the tooth. And I said, that's what I want. So he said, you want me to use the minimum of Novocaine? I said, I don't want you to use any Novocaine. Just get in there and do it. He shuddered. He went to his father, who was an older man, probably 65, 66 years old, not much older than I am. And he shuddered too. He said, no, you're not going to do that, are you? I said, yeah. So he went in there, pushed it in. I said, now what I want you to do is I want you to push it in, give me a few seconds to mitigate that pain, let that pain wave pass, and then twist. And then let that wave pass, and then yank it out. So he did exactly that, and the thing we didn't know is that the nerve that went all the way up into here had become fibroid, so it was a whole balloon. So when he pulled that out, it was harder getting that out than the tooth.
God.
So it made this big, pop sound, and the blood went all the way across the room. And he was expecting to go in there and find my mouth full of blood, but it just had that one squirt, and my body clotted just like that, stopped it instantly. No bleeding beyond that spurt out. But I had this huge sac, that had fibroided from that tooth. And he was impressed. So he'll do anything that I want.
On a scale of 1 to 10, what was the pain?
I've gone through so much pain.
Yeah, I know you have.
This is just another one, and it was very brief. Because when you pushed it in, that was about, a good, probably 3 seconds of tremendous pain. Like you hit a nerve, but then it stopped. So it took about 45 seconds to mellow out till it was just throb, numb throb. Then the next one, the same thing, you just twist it around. That probably didn't take more than, 3 to 5 seconds. It took me about another minute to let that wave of pain and everything subside, and throbbing with blood pressure, you could feel it pounding by every heartbeat. And then the pulling of it, I think that was probably the most pain, because he had to pull it at fibroid tissue through that socket that was only so big. So.
Well, this diet seems to lend itself on it as far as, just accumulating so much more plaque on my teeth anyway. I don't know.
Because you have all the minerals to pull. Most of your toxic metals are in the brain. The brain is 60% fat. It's higher than any other place in the body except for the bone marrow. And most of the toxins go into the bone marrow and brain. The body tries to defend the bone marrow and restrict poisons going there, because that's where you breed red and white blood cells and stem cells. So the brain is the most polluted part of the body. We also have the 80,000 years ago when we started developing such a large brain, and that coincides with the amount of cooking that had been done and starting to melt and use pottery and stuff like that, where they were using kilns, where you've got this poisonous vapor of heavy metals breathing into your lungs. So the brain seemed to develop with the amount of pollution that man was subjecting himself to.
What are your recommendations for that type of, any recommendations for what you're using?
Well, you're using coconut cream to brush your teeth with. Fermented coconut cream will rip that plaque off quickly.
Fermented coconut cream?
Fermented
What about
coconut.
enamel?
How do you
hurt your enamel?
The what?
Will it hurt your enamel?
Not at all.
How do you ferment the coconut cream?
Oh,
Pardon?
doesn't take long at all.
How do you ferment the coconut cream?
Oh, it
Leave
just
it
gets
out?
old.
Leave it out?
No, you have to leave it out.
Well, you
It
do it in the
ferments in the
fridge?
refrigerator.
Oh, the old stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Just
said I
use
throw
the
it
old
out.
stuff.
I mean, the stuff you throw out.
Just use the old stuff.
Okay. And,
Use it for your bath and use it for your teeth.
okay. And the cultured butter, what do they actually do to that? I had bought something.
It's just like yogurt. They put a bacteria in it.
Supposed to be better for you? Or?
Well, it just means it's pre-digested by some bacteria that they've entered into it, and the bacteria that they enter it causes a sweeter byproduct than the bitter bulgarious. So it just means it's a sweeter butter, and it's partially digested.
Dina and I were talking about the coconut oil. I had asked her if you could eat that, and she said yes, I should. I remember reading like David Walden on, 2 tablespoons a day or whatever. Do you recommend eating that for us?
1 tablespoon a day.
You do recommend it though?
Well, it's oil. If you're having coconut cream, you don't need it.
Oh.
Because you're going to get the oil already in the coconut cream. But I mean, it's an alternative to eating, let's say, olive oil. That's definitely a better alternative than flax oil.
Aajonus, can I take you back for 1 second? I have a question about the pain, because I always go to the dentist about
Let's go around. If it is directly related to her question.
Or the one before that, about when you were talking about the pain when you had to and you said that it only lasted 3 seconds. So it's not true that when something is made painful...
No, the actual blow of him putting that half-circle chisel along the tooth down to the point of the end of the root.
Right.
That was 3 seconds for him to get it down there. Then he stopped. Took me 45 seconds to a minute to get over that strong pain.
But you would think that strong pain would stay there, wouldn't it?
No. So like I hit you, that immediate blow is going to be very painful. You're going to be numb for a little bit after that. The pain will increase later if you don't have good nutrients in your body. But that initial very painful. Very painful.
Is that perfect now?
Well, I still have a little lump. You guys saw the lump a year ago. This is what it is now 2 years 3 months beyond. No, exactly 2 years as of April 2nd, 1st or 2nd it happened. So this lump here is a clavicle broke here and went all the way through my neck and back and right back into place and reset. And but it got made its own cast, which is about the size of a half of a baseball or 10 small. Probably another year or two. And tribes we cook meats, when they get a broken bone like that, that natural cast lives forever. They have an enlarged bone in that area, so it's a scar tissue. Mine keeps going away because I don't eat cooked food. My body's in constant, the cleanest it can be under the circumstances. I don't give it anything to be toxic, to use its nutrients up on just handling the toxins from cooked processed foods. Joseph, can you get... Oh, let's skip you.
Two little questions, okay? Two little ones. One relates to what...
So I have to give little answers?
Okay. Can you get heavy metals in your eyes?
Absolutely.
Okay, just like the brain.
Pardon?
Just like the brain.
Absolutely.
Okay, the other one is dry sauna a good idea for detoxing heavy metals?
No, it is not.
Okay.
What happens when you get into a dry sauna is like a desert. You will perspire out and you'll burn those poisons right back into your body. Most people don't sweat all the way out. And the minerals tend to magnetize to other minerals in the skin. So you may have H2O that runs off of you, but the metals usually stay right on the skin and burn into your skin. So if you're going to do a sauna, it means getting out every 3 minutes to rinse off to make sure it doesn't burn into the skin.
Rinse and wipe with a cloth or something?
Or just get in there and rinse, with a cloth while you're under the shower. But then you're going to be cooling your body every 3 minutes.
These saunas don't have a shower in them. They're just a room with a lot of
That's what I mean.
heat.
That's why I say
150 degrees. I know somebody.
Some of them
that's
are
doing this.
168 degrees up the top.
Yeah, and she's in there for I think 20 minutes at the most or something like that.
Too long?
Well,
3 minutes, get out, rinse, and go back in.
Anything, is it?
Pardon?
That's not helping her detox anything.
Yeah, it is, but it's damaging her skin. She keeps destroying skin cells, and she's going to have very old skin.
What
She
about
may
when
be
you lie?
cleaner inside, but she's not going to be cleaner on the surface.
So overall,
And especially women, vanity,
Overall, she's not much better by doing that.
Oh yeah, she's better internally, the lymph glands, everything will be better, but her skin won't.
What will it look like?
Well, it will age and be dead. It just wrinkle and turn into like elephant skin.
Would wet sauna be any better? The steam?
No, because then you've got the high steam burning the sinuses, and that'll damage mucus production in the lungs too.
So she's better off in a bathtub.
Bathtub or a jacuzzi.
Hot spring.
Hot spring.
What about when you lie in the sun then? Because, I was thinking about that. When you lie in the sun, you sweat just like you do in a sauna.
But
And
you're not.
why wouldn't you be?
You don't have that hot heat.
Oh, I don't know about that. And here in San Diego, when you lie in the sun,
It's not 168 degrees.
well, it's not the sauna either. I think it's been either, but it's not that
The
hot.
lowest area I measured, probably not my own because I don't have one,
Yeah.
but when I've gone to Ivy Hot Springs, I've gone to Murrieta Hot Springs, all these places and gyms that I've gone to, Jack Mullane's, all those, when I measured the different layers in a sauna, the highest one I ever was in was 186 degrees at the top.
But if you lie down,
And then as you go down, it decreased.
Yeah.
And the lowest was 120.
Yeah, that's right.
That's hot.
But what about you lying in the sun, though?
You're not going to get over 100
No.
degrees.
Okay. So it's
Doesn't
not doing
burn
the
it.
same. I mean, it
Doesn't
feels
burn
the
it.
same temperature. I mean, I understand what you're
You
saying.
feel hot
It feels very hot.
because you've got metals being. It's like you have a car. You go out and touch a car with a dark paint job, and it's going to be really hard. If it's a light-colored car, it's not going to be as hot. And when you've got heavy metals coming out, lead, mercury, any of those, they absorb the sun and they become very hot.
That's all right in the sun?
It will be okay. It's going to be hot on your body,
Yeah.
and it's going to burn the cells, but it's not going to bake into your skin.
Okay. Because I do a lot of that in the summer, and I thought that might be bad.
No, what you do is hose them, rinse those off so you won't burn so much from the sun.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And also, if you put the coconut
I mean,
oil,
I put the lubricating. I always put your
lubrication
butter,
formula,
the butter
or the
mixture.
coconut oil on.
Yeah.
Now that we have the coconut oil,
Yeah.
and when it comes out, it has to go through a layer of oil to get to your skin, and it's not going to happen. And you can rinse yourself off too, and it won't, because it'll be cooler water. It's not going to rinse off the oil. It's only going to rinse off the metals that
Well,
sat
I'm
on
going
top.
to sea. I'm at the beach, not running to the sea.
Pardon?
I'm going into the seawater,
Oh.
ocean water. Is that bad?
Well, the salt water will wash off the oil.
Yeah, I put it on again. Yeah. So I'm just trying to get it straight now, because even though I hear what you say, I feel hotter in the sun than I would in a sauna
Well, that's only
because of the direct.
metal reflecting.
Okay, that's fine. Just clarify it.
Pardon? That's awful. When I've
Oh.
looked at skin brushings under a microscope, it just lacerates new skin. So what you've done is created a scar tissue
Really?
of the new skin. Yeah. So it's always best to use cotton or silk washcloth. And after you've gotten all that dead skin very moist, you can just rub it off. And then you're taking care of that new skin. But you put a brush on there, even the natural bristles just cause scratching. It scratches it. Just like if you had a rash and you were scratching yourself and you created all this very light scab all over.
Yeah,
That's what it does.
but the old dry skin does come off with it, though, don't you agree?
Yeah, but it damages the new skin. And so it's slightly hardened and scarred. And that affects the next generation that's bred.
Okay.
It also impedes that generation from reproducing cells. Silk cloth, yeah, silk cloth. Like your raw silk. Yeah, either cotton or silk. Yeah, cotton or silk. I know some people in Himalaya area, and it's that part of China. Yeah, Tibet. Yes, they use wool washcloth. A little rough, but I don't think it scratches.
Yeah, that is the first
horrifying.
time I've heard it referred to that way,
It
but
is
it's true.
Well, they're just butted together. It's part of China.
True.
You can tell the Tibetans now.
They're throwing the Tibetans.
The Chinese like to do that.
Is the salt water just like the regular ocean water? Very neat, like detox or healing. Like when I was in went over and started using it was just like the best. I had never felt so good after swimming in the sun. Is it a detox or just
Well, it depends upon the individual. If you have a lot of salt in your body, it's very good to pull the salts out. So if somebody's used to using a lot of salt, the salt water is good. I don't do well in salt water. Like when I was in Aruba.
really?
Yeah, I traveled there one day, took one day, and I saw all my patients. And the next day I went snorkeling. And it just, I don't like it on my skin. I like fresh water. even though I didn't burn, I had a whole layer of skin peel.
Same thing like if you're in Hawaii, it doesn't matter what kind of water.
I did everywhere I go snorkeling, if I'm in, because it's always sea. I love to snorkel, so I'll do it anyway,
put up with it.
regardless. I'll do my 2 days of peeling. But there's no burn. I don't burn, I don't blister. I look like a lobster, but I don't blister, I don't feel burn.
You put your stuff on, your coconut cream, your coconut cream, or caramel.
Well, I
You
didn't
don't
have
even
it
need
with me.
Oh.
Would have been X-ray. I didn't take it.
What race or tribe of people has the best skin here?
The African American and some Asians.
Polynesian?
Well, when I was in Tahiti, the natives who were eating the white man's diet, and that was almost all of them, because almost all the natives on Tahiti wanted to be white and rich. Then you go to the next island, they're not nice. They're just very resentful because they're not already white and they're not rich. And then you go over, and it's their diet because they're eating the same garbage that the white man is. They're eating chips, they're eating the fast food, and they're just, it's not their natural diet. They've never gone in that in their ancestry. So all of a sudden in the last 40 years, going on with that kind of diet is pretty traumatic on them emotionally. So I went to the next island, which was Moorea, and then the next one, Bora Bora. And the natives are quite happy there, but they're the ones that taught me to eat raw chicken. They were eating raw fish, raw chicken, lots of raw foods. They were happy. They didn't eat a lot, A restaurant there was out, an okay, mostly run-down house, and you got picnic tables outside, made of partially stone, partially concrete, and that's a restaurant there. They're very happy and very nice and pleasant and wonderful. So it depends on where you are. The skin on these Tahitians, which would normally be beautiful, like you see on Moorea and Bora Bora, where they're eating a natural diet, their skin is beautiful. But then you look in Tahiti, where they're eating all the white man's garbage, their skin is horrendous. But I'd say probably the healthiest skin I've ever seen in the world is in the African race. All that sun they've absorbed for ages and ages and ages. Of course, I'd seen some farmers in Asia that had pretty good skin, but they age very rapidly because they only eat like 5% meat. Africans eat a tremendous amount of meat, so they've got good physical, structure and body skin tone. Whereas the Asians will wrinkle quickly as soon as they start eating, mid-40s, they start shriveling.
What's that big thing about the Okinawan diet? And the guy was talking about it, and he said the reason that they live there, you have the most number of centuries or something over there. In Okinawa.
Oh, you mean
Off of
Japan?
Yeah. And off a little island, so they were saying that they have clean air, clean water. And I was there in the Navy, so that was the things that they there. And they said they eat a lot of bitter melons.
Yeah, they don't eat ripe fruit, and they eat lots of raw fish.
Yeah,
Lots of raw fish.
And seaweed.
Seaweed, yeah.
Like seaweed.
So,
Well, in Okinawa they don't eat a lot of seafood.
really,
But other parts of Japan they eat a lot of, in the cities.
does that contribute just to their salt?
The raw fish is all that does it. They eat an enormous amount of raw fish. That's how sushi got started.
What is the diet predominantly of raw fish?
Pardon?
A diet predominantly on raw fish, is that fairly beneficial or is that detrimental?
It's fine for the people who, in tropical areas, I find it's pretty good. I can't do it. I've tried it.
What happens?
It's not enough nourishment for me. I start getting fatigued. I lose too much weight. And I'm just hungry all the time. And irritable. Start getting irritable once I get down to a certain weight. So I can't live on it. There are natives who can. There are lots of Asians who can. They don't need to eat at all.
Even if they don't have the fat, like you say, the fat we need.
Yeah, but fish are full of fat.
Okay.
Fish are full of fat. High fat.
Really?
Almost all of it. There's some that are leaner, but fish are pretty fatty. Whenever I buy fish, I buy the fatty section.
Yes.
I mean, really fatty. Like get the tail end of a swordfish. It's greasy. And that's my favorite.
What did I find? Oh, I find shark one. But I did not like that at all. I couldn't even get it down.
It's difficult.
Why was that?
So we don't have to worry about mercury in tuna or anything like that when it's raw.
No,
Like
cooked,
when it's
fractionated, the fat of the fish has already dealt with meat toxicity and bound it in fat. If you cook that fish, fractionate that bond, then that heavy metal goes into your system. And when I did tests with swordfish with 12 animals, 13 counting me, what was 14, 15, I don't remember now, but it was broken up into half, plus me eating it raw and half eating it cooked. And we just took the feces and the urine from each animal and had them separate, so we could see, that if there was a ratio, high difference between the ones on raw and the ones on cooked, and whether they had to do with digestion or whatever. So we checked the blood and the feces, the urine and the feces, all that was collected in a day for 3 days after eating the swordfish. Nothing else was given except for water during that 3-day period. And we had measured, the lab technician had measured the amount of mercury in the swordfish, how much it was in concentration, and then, of course, how much was given in grams to each animal, and that much mercury, it was all from the same swordfish. And each section was fed the same area. The fish was fed to each of the animals. We had 5 times in that 24-hour period, and then 3 days after we had examined everything. And the amount of mercury that was in the fish before it was eaten, before it was cooked and everything, just the concentration of different parts of the tissue was all put together and divided, and then equally that was shared among all the animals over that 24-hour period. And then feces and urine was collected to measure the amount of mercury that was in the feces and the urine. And in the ones who ate it raw, it was 96 to 98% discharge from the urine and the feces. The fat molecules that held the mercury in suspension were relatively undigested. So the body can identify and pass it right through. But in the animals who ate the cooked swordfish, only 8% came out at worst and 12%. So this is 8 to 12%. Only 8 to 12% came out of the body. So all that rest of that mercury was poisoning. It was long as you eat the fish raw, you're not going to get, probably that other, 4 to 8% was discharged through perspiration, right out through the skin. And that's only common sense that would happen. So there was no evidence that it's stored in the body when you eat it raw. Lots of evidence against it storing it, any of it storing it. Of course, we didn't scrape the skin to find out. Because there were cats and dogs, they had too much hair. I wasn't about to let them scrape me. Okay, let's bounce back over here. Do you have a question? Not yet? Come up with one? No? Do you have a question?
Yeah,
No, I'm talking to the dog.
I think I've asked you this before, but anyway, I'll assume I can't think of anything else. I've noticed that since I've been on this diet, my bags under my eyes have swelled up more. And the skin on the bag so thin and delicate that if you squeeze it for a moment, it stays squeezed, so it's like so thin and straight. So I was wondering whether you've had experience with other people having a swelling.
No, it usually decreases on the diet, most people. However, if yours had been very thin and starting to cirrhose, which means harden, then then more fluid would be brought into that area to try to keep it from hardening together. And so you'd have more circulation. So it could be just temporary. It could take 6-7 years.
Well,
It's pretty temporary when you figure it has to take 40 years to clean the body completely. I'm only 34 years into a raw diet, but that wasn't eating meat for 34. I've been eating meat since '76, so it's 30 years of eating raw meat. And didn't start eating it on a daily basis until '82. So it's 26 years of eating meat on a daily basis. But in the last 3 years, my bones have gotten smaller, but more dense, no osteoporosis, nothing like that. It's shrunk. When you eat cooked fats, cooked foods, the fat molecules swell from 10 to 50 times their normal size. So that's why you see a good example, one I like to use, is John Travolta. Remember how tall and lanky and thin he was all the way up until he was 30 years old? Then, well, you see him just slightly starting to get bigger by the time he's 30. And then after that, to his 30s and 40s, tremendous swelling. I mean, this guy used to be tall and lanky, and now he's huge and thick in his bones, eating all that cooked food. He does that to a lot of men. Take a look at Crowe, Russell Crowe, same way, very slender. Remember he did that nude robot, in one film, and then you see him in The Gladiator, the other films, and he's huge. And you see all these actors going from very thin to really swelled bodies as they get older. Mine is doing the reverse because I'm not contaminating. So I've gone from, my body fat, I used to like to keep it minimum 27% body fat. And that's what most women have, not men. And most athletic men have body fat about 7%. And I used to keep 27% minimum for me, and that's what I like. Now I don't need as much fat, so I'm about 22% body fat. Do I look like I'm 22% body fat? I've got abs that are cut. It looks like I have 7% body fat of the people who eat cooked foods. But I'm 22% body fat. 3 weeks ago I was 20% body fat. I was a little slimmer. But my waist is now 29 to 30-inch waves. When I had blown up from everything, it went up to 37, 38 waves. My chest had swelled up to 40, 41. It's back down to 36. So it's taken me 34 years to get to this point to be where I was when I was 16 years old.
You haven't shortened that out.
Not at all. I haven't shortened a bit.
You feel
I'm
stronger?
exactly 5'7" 3/4, exactly where I was at 16 years old.
That's good. Well, I just wonder when you say your bones got smaller.
Yeah.
Hasn't it?
Not in height. It was just
Anyway.
width.
So you stayed very straight.
Pardon?
You stayed very straight.
Yeah, and all my brothers have shrunk.
Pardon me?
All my brothers have shrunk.
They turned over or just...
No, they're dropping.
Yeah.
Dropping. My dad went from 5'6" to 5'4". No, he's 5'3" something. And my youngest brother, who was 6 foot, is down to 5'10", and he's 3 years younger than I am. So, he'll be 56 this year, and or he was just 56 in January. He's 3 years younger than I, and he's already dropped almost 2 inches.
When the drop? I was thinking it was caused by curvature, but it's not.
No. You started wearing down your cartilage. My cartilage isn't wearing.
It's like
Everywhere, vertebrae, everything. Just figure all the cartilage whittles and people just start dropping. Whittles away.
Is your strength the same?
Pardon?
Is your strength the same? Your strength in your body?
Yeah, 3 years ago, I went through testing in St. Louis at Washington University Medical School. And there was a team of cardiologists which were examining raw fooders who had to be at least raw fooders for 5 years. And they wanted to take a look at me because of the high-fat diet, and their cardiologists, thinking, well, fat, this guy's going to have plaque all over his heart, arteries, everything, And you figure when I was 15 and a half, I started with angina pectoris, which is an older person's disease, when they have plaque arteries in the heart, and you have constant heart attacks. And I probably had 300 heart attacks from the age of 15 and a half till I was 22. And 50 of them caused me to pass out. So that was like, 8 or 9 a year that caused me to pass out. Which isn't so many, but I never died, and I didn't, only a few times that I get taken to the hospital. But I was out of it by the time, I got there and was examined out of the heart attack. So there's no need to revive me. And that's probably just because people are older when it happens. It's harder for them to recover. So here I was at this university, at Washington Medical School. Not University of Washington Medical School in St. Louis. They have the sonogram. That's how you tell the plaque, and usually it takes them about 10 minutes, 7 to 10 minutes, and they're satisfied. They started on me for almost 25 minutes, looking. Couldn't find any. They just found some here in the carotid artery, but that was heavily plaqued when I was 15 years old. So there was just a little bit in that artery. Plaque will probably go away in the next probably 10 years completely. It wasn't already gone. And they were so impressed, because I'd been a juvenile diabetic, and they say juvenile diabetics never heal. The pancreas is dead, and that is it. So they gave me a sugar glucose tolerance test, and it's the first time I had sugar since '72, or 73. And so, man, I was just buzzing. I mean, I tried to write something, and the blood pressure had my hand moving so much I couldn't keep steady. And they take the blood every half hour and test it to see your sugar level. And usually around the 5th test, which is 3 hours later, 2.5 hours later, it's usually around 102 to 104, and then it stops. Mine went all the way down to 54. They said I had the strongest, healthiest pancreas they've ever seen. No, right after that kind of sugar, because they measured the insulin too, so the insulin was high. See, in diabetics, there's no insulin. So the sugar level is high because there's no insulin. Mine dropped with insulin, ripped it out, controlled it, toxic sugar.
How much sugar did you do? One cookie or?
Oh, no.
Brownie?
It was
Sugar cube?
No. They give it to you in a liquid. It's a syrup. Oh my God, it's disgusting.
Is it like, if you converted that into a whole box of Oreo cookies, is it?
It could probably be what's equivalent into a package and a half of Oreo cookies. If you let's say a box of sugar cubes, which is about like this, probably about 15 cubes of sugar.
So it's not a normal amount of sugar that somebody would be having.
That's the way they test it. That's the way they test it.
I'm surprised you would let them give you that.
I wanted to see. I wanted to know. I did not let them X-ray me. They wanted to X-ray me. I didn't let them X-ray.
What do they want to X-ray?
They wanted to X-ray my chest, and heart, and all of that, bones. So, he was so impressed because the head of the cardiology division of that university, that medical school, is a famous world-renowned sports cardiologist. So he's for the U.S. Olympics team and athletes all over the world. So he was really impressed. He says, "Can we do some more tests on you?" And he said, "You only agreed to do these." And I said, "Sure, let's do some more tests. What do you want to do?" And they said, "Well, we want to take you up to the gym and see how you perform." And I said, "I haven't performed since 1979. I haven't done any exercise and lifted any weights, done anything like that since 1979. But let's go do it." He said, "Okay, we'll take it easy." I don't know how much of a test it's going to be if you take it easy. So we went up to this top floor, and they had an indoor track, and they had all of these electrode machines where you hook yourself up and through a radio wave it sends it back to the machine so they can register everything. Heart, the brain, the pulse, everything. So they wired me up, they glued all the electrodes to me. And first they put me on and I had to sign another release for these. First they put me on the leg press, see how much weight I could. They started me off with 40 pounds. I said, "Why don't we start with 90? No, we have to do this right. I think, I'm not going to get sued because you get hurt." So I said, "Okay," which is wasting a lot of time. So he went up 20 pounds each time. So we got up to about 260 pounds with the legs. And then I went, and she said, "Okay, that's enough." But it took 260 pounds for me to start showing strain. I probably could have been about 320, something like that with heavy strain. So then it was the bench press. So I got up to 190 before I was like this, and he said, "Okay, that's enough." So as soon as I started, a good sign of pushing hard, then he stopped the exercise. So I got up to 190, and then he put me on the track. So I did 5 minutes on the track, but every time I did an exercise, my heart was regular within 3 minutes. It was on the low side of normal. It was on the high side of normal after 90 seconds. He said, I've never seen anything like this before. I have people who do work out, 3-4 days a week that can't do what you do. And he says, you're no youngster. Sure, I was in my mid-50s. I was 56 when those tests were done. So
you got your heart rate up to 120, I think. Did a good job. Pressure says goes to heart 120.
I think it went higher than that. I think mine went up to 127. When I was doing the track.
Maybe you did the track.
Yeah. Because I don't run. I don't even walk. I may walk 3 miles a month.
Really? How do you lose your weight? Just by brain power working all morning? Really, don't you? I mean, you do have to lose your weight somehow with energy. That's a fact.
No.
You take in food. How do you use it then?
No, I'll just eat lots of eggs.
So you eat 3 pounds of meat a day. I mean,
Well,
I'd be
I eat
the size
1
of
to
a
3
pumpkin.
pounds a day. I average 2 pounds a day.
I'd be the size of a pumpkin.
And how many eggs do you have?
If I'm on a weight loss, I eat only about half a pound to a pound of meat a day, and I'll eat up to 30 eggs a day
On a weight loss.
for weight loss.
When you're on a weight up.
Oh, let me tell you, eggs will take weight off quickly.
Really?
Very quickly.
Really? When I come 2 pounds of the weight down diet,
But I made that diet to let people come down slowly.
Way too slow.
Well, then add more eggs, and bring down the meat.
So who do you think that's the milk and you eat sometimes? But who's meat?
You're next, or you're next, either one.
I will.
Everybody's been...
Could I take some snapshots?
Pardon?
Can I take some snapshots?
Sure, if you like. I'm not
Just for
very
my
pretty.
daughter who would have loved to.
Just want to ask about dairy. There has been a number of people, I mean, I don't take a lot of notice of the Yahoo site, but there's a lot of them going off dairy on this site. Follow you, but don't going off dairy who are on this Yahoo site that you probably heard about, but don't have anything to do with it. It's the Primal Diet Yahoo site.
You have to understand that from my talking to the people that run that site, they get a lot of people who are really vegetarians that feel that dairy is wrong, and they get on the internet and start telling people stories.
I know, it's just stupid.
And it's not nice. They have their agenda, which is to stop the people from eating dairy.
So, just want to go on. So, but you do believe that dairy is really important in this diet for the minerals, for the fat, for... So I know, I just want to know
everything. For everything. I mean, it stabilizes people so much better. I mean, I tried diet with just eggs and meat.
Yes.
And the amount of stability is impossible to reach.
I just want to know all those little facts.
The butter is so important for the whole system, stabilizing it and keeping it from getting disease. And then the cream is so important for settling the nervous system. And without those dairy, and with the milk, you supply yourself with so many minerals so quickly.
I agree.
The cheese is a great absorber
Of toxins.
I mean, it's such a wonderful tool.
Yeah, somebody else, not here, but I had to, someone said to me, because I was making all my milk mainly soured, splitting it thick, that you lack some, I don't know what it was they said at the time, might have been lactose. If you lack something, if you turn all your milk into acetylene with the souring process, I should be drinking some non-sour. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So I should have what, half of it?
Not
what's the
necessarily
process?
half. You just need some minerals that will not be absorbed as fully. So I will take some fresh milk, I'll put it in a bowl of warm water, or hot water, and burn my hand. Immerse my hand in the hot water for about 4 seconds. And I'll let it warm up. And then I'll warm it up, and then I'll let that sit for an hour in the warm water, and it turns cool but not cold. And then I'll do it again for another hour, and then I'll drink that warm. And I'll drink that milk warm, and I may drink a quart on one day a week.
What's that sort of milk?
1 or 2 days a week.
And why do you do that, Mom?
Because if cold milk shrinks the stomach, you don't secrete the hydrochloric acid and the casein and milk sugar will not digest properly. It gets into the blood when it enters the blood and undigested.
Why do you do it twice?
Pardon?
Why do you use it twice?
Because I like the bacteria to build up a little bit.
But
the bacteria doesn't start building up until it reaches a certain temperature.
Okay.
So I want it to a couple of hours at least with bacteria building.
But we're already having our soured milk anyway.
No, I'm talking about fresh milk right out of the refrigerator.
But you're trying
sour.
Yeah.
It's not sour.
So you still want to increase bacteria though, even
Yeah,
though
but it's not to the point where it's sour.
Okay.
Can you just pour a little hot water into it to use it up in the
Pour the hot water into milk?
I love to take
Yeah,
cream in hot water, a little hot water and a lot of cream.
You're going to demineralize your bones if you do that.
Is that right?
Cream already demineralized. That's why I have people using cheese to eat cream. That's why I tell them to keep the cream down to a certain level. And you add water to it, then you're going to really demineralize.
If you add water to the milk, same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just put in a dab of hot water, boiling water, it'll make the
You
milk
also
warm
got
in
to
a
cook.
hurry.
You also
cook
got
the
to
milk.
cook some of that.
But it's
Milk.
so little.
Let me pour just a little bit of hot water down your throat. See what happens. You're only going to burn the esophagus and part of the stomach and your mouth. But how are you going to eat after that? You're not going to eat for a couple of weeks. And then you may die because you won't be able to eat unless you're going to intravenously feed you or put a whole tube in your stomach to feed you. Same thing happens with cells. We say the orifice of the cell is burned, solidly shut.
Going on with the Sabbath milk thing, do you think it's a good idea to heat it when you get your cold milk out of the fridge and you want to turn it into Sabbath milk? Do you think it's a good idea to warm it to a certain temperature to grow certain type of bacteria?
If you want to do it quicker. Like if
Doesn't really matter.
like I just come back from a trip and I have no, fresh warm milk, no cultured milk, I'll put it just like I told you. I'll put it in a bowl, 2-3 times in a day. I'll put honey in it first, because then it'll thicken quickly. Within like 15-24 hours, I have kefir, thick kefir. If I will heat the milk like that 3-4 times in a 24-hour period with honey in it.
I was wondering if there were different types of bacteria that form at different temperatures that might be more beneficial or less.
There probably are, but they're always the same bacteria. It's like the difference between a human being, an Eskimo, and a human being, tropical. They're both humans. Of course, the human that's, Alaska is going to tolerate the weather, the heat, the cold, better than one in the tropics. the nature will be able to.
The minimum amount of time, like I know you said but if I wanted something like 60 days, just have me know what's the minimum amount of time that it takes for my body can already through.
For me, it's 2 hours.
So if I leave it out,
If I put it in hot water, let it sit in that water for an hour, and then I reheat the water again, and leave it in there for an hour, I can drink it. There's no problem. You have to experiment and try.
What will it do if it's been too long?
What too long?
I thought you said the maximum time was 2 hours.
No, minimum
Oh,
time.
minimum.
Minimum time.
Back to that milk, we were talking about amount of clabbered milk or soured milk as against ordinary milk. If you had an idea, what would you say? How much of each?
I would say with your system, and those people who are very toxic, 2/3 soured, 1/3 fresh.
I've been doing 100% treatment because I thought it was better to make it long.
But already done.
Are you eating cheese?
Occasionally, yeah. Yeah.
Then probably you're not going to have a problem, but still it's better to have some a little bit more fresh.
So don't do all kefir then. I don't know where I got that idea from one of the people.
Well, I thought kefir's already pre-digested. You know, it's broken down, so you're going to get a lot more from it. But there are certain mineral bonds that don't occur in the sour that are in the milk.
And should I do half or 2/3?
I think 1/3. You know,
1/3 regular milk and 2/3 kefir, or
2/3 kefir.
okay.
Should be fine. Yeah, when I did my experiments with eating nothing but kefir, I started getting tremendous gas and started
Sometimes
having
get gas from
lots of diarrhea.
Okay.
So you haven't taken it to that point.
You probably drink
I can't do it. I have to eat 1/3 fresh milk, 2/3 kefir.
But then you're probably having a lot per day too, aren't you? How much?
Pardon?
You probably do take quite a bit more milk or kefir.
Yeah, I probably, if I'm eating kefir, it's a quart a day. If I'm drinking milk, it's 2 quarts a day. Quart ounce.
Oh my God.
So we're talking about cups. And you're
I'm not
talking about
drinking
quarts.
that much. I'm drinking 3 quarts a week all
Well,
total.
see, I stay away from water.
Well, I don't drink much water either.
How do you stay away from water?
You totally stay away from water?
Oh, during the winter. I probably had a cup of water all week. You know, sip here and there.
So when you're thirsty, you just
You know that Hakumba water?
Yes.
You know me? That's what I've been living off of since
Oh, that's
2
good.
months
That's
since you
good.
gave it to me.
I haven't been out there, so I didn't bring any, but yeah.
And what's the point of not drinking water?
It's in the book.
Yes.
In the new book?
No, it's in the old book.
It's in the
I
first
thought
book.
it was still
How much
good to drink
kefir?
a little bit of water.
Yeah, a little.
If you do
Little's
water,
okay.
what kind? Does it matter? I mean,
Well, you
warm
should
water,
always
spring
drink water in
milk.
glass.
Yes, they do.
So it can be Avion if you want flat water, or it can be sparkling water, as long as it's naturally sparkling. Like Gerolsteiner, San Pellegrino.
Like I have the cooler and the beer spring and so on.
You want to distill, it's even worse. It'll leach more nutrients out of your system.
I just have a bottle of Earl Seniors. I either let the top off and let it get flat.
That's
I
fine.
just want to still, or I put part Earl Seniors as part of that water.
Combo, yeah.
Just put some of the mineral water in it, you can put some water in.
So what is your body craving? All I want to do is drink. And I will drink. I tried the ice chips. I tried, just doesn't do it, and I'll drink it. It's almost, I can't help myself. And it'll quench just for a minute, and then I'll just keep going back. I mean, I'm like an addict. I'm terrible.
That's why
For water.
it does just the opposite.
But
It's
why?
ripping it.
What does my body want then if it doesn't want that?
It needs fat.
I'm just doing the eggs. I mean, I'm just, 18 eggs a
18
day.
eggs, those fats burn. They don't solidify or stay in the body. They burn and they remove toxicity. That's why I say if you eat eggs, people eat 50 eggs a day and they'll lose weight.
Yes, I know. So what happened? What else do I need to add? Fat. Well,
You need honey with almost everything you
the
eat.
butter.
The fat in honey, I found in my experiments, especially on the mouth, relieves dry mouth more than anything. You can put butter in your mouth, put cream in your mouth. You can do all kinds of things. Meat fat in your mouth. Meat fat is second best. And that will relieve the dry mouth sensation. But the dry mouth, like I've said before, when the brain detoxifies all those heavy metals, it does it to the gums, the tongue, and the salivary glands, most of it. Some of it to the sinuses. When it comes out, it creates all that plaque around the teeth. It also causes all the fats in the face, because of everything coming down all out from the nerves and the teeth and all down the gums, those channels out of the brain are ripping all the fats out and all the skin and flesh. That's why all tribes who don't eat a lot of fat shrivel at the mouth.
So all the eggs are dry, all that stuff.
Dry. You're not adding any fat. It's got to be butter, or it's got to be cream. Yes, to be coconut cream, things like that. But if you want to replenish the mouth, the only fats that are absorbed wholly and completely into the cells around the mouth are the fats in honey. So you use the saliva and honey. But I don't know how you remember, but I used to have heavy lines a year ago, all up in the upper one, heavy lines. And just in the last year, I've been experimenting using the honey butter. They're almost all gone.
It's not honey and spit, you're talking about honey butter.
And I never get dry mouth and dry lips again. Unless I go do my workshop, long day, talk for 8 hours, and I don't put the honey and saliva on. Then my lips will get dry again. They'll start cracking. But if I put that honey and saliva on there, I never get dry mouth. And that way I don't go for water anymore.
Do you think dry mouth is due to
Brain detoxification, all the poisons that leave the brain, pull the fats out of everywhere it comes out. It's like a magnet, it just takes all the fat on its way out. So it leaves this whole area dry. That's why everybody wrinkles around the mouth heavily and around the eyes, because the tear ducts are constantly flowing it out. And then that'll cause dryness around here.
So could you do it around the eyes as well? Because
Honey
my eyes
butter,
have been so
absolutely.
dry.
Well, you remember I had 12
months.
layers of skin here from all those years of
Yes, I
being
remember.
outdoors and on bad diet. And I started putting the honey and saliva on the forehead about 8 months ago. And it's down to about 4 layers of
But
skin.
the actual,
Every night?
No, I just do it. I'm not that vain. I do it for
It does look
experimentation.
different now.
Yeah, it's very different.
What are the proportions?
I just do it 2 times a week. 2 days a
Honey
week.
and saliva.
Honey and saliva. You put the saliva on an area first, so it's very moist. And put saliva on your finger again. Just dab it into the honey. Saliva on top of that. So you're just putting a very fine layer, so it's barely tacky. And if you go like this after a few minutes, it'll take the tackiness away. That's all it takes.
so for the eye, actually the eyeball, that will go through the eyelid onto the eyeball.
If you put it on the upper eyelid.
That could be what's happening. Could be the toxin coming into the eyes.
You mean from the honey?
No, from
No.
the metals.
Oh, from the metals, yes.
Is this then?
Oh,
go through it?
they come all through everywhere around the eyes. Yeah. Dump into the sinuses.
Yes, 3 months it's been very dim and darker, the eyes are looking dark. Okay. One of the big things there.
And what do you say for chocolate? I've never had chocolate in my life.
Honey and saliva.
It's a cheap one, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's such a fine amount.
Yeah.
What time is it? 4:30. 4:30. That's it.
Perfect, isn't it?
Good.
You managed it.
Welcome. That was great.
Well, back in the
So let's know you're going to Australia, won't you? I mean, when was business year, approximately?
June or July. Because when I go to Asia, I'll go.
I want to contact you when you go.